Okay, Algebra 1, here are some examples on how to do today's assignment. You are going to be expanding or multiplying these and writing it out. So the first thing we're going to do, I think it says expanding in your book, but we're just going to be finding the square of x plus 4. So remember, that doesn't mean, it does not mean x squared plus 16. That is incorrect. You can't ever do that because what you're squaring is the whole thing. It's the same thing as doing x plus 4 times x plus 4 using the box. But there's a quicker method. Remember, when you have a sum, or the square of a sum, which is what we have here, we're going to square the first term, so we're going to say x squared, and then on the end we're going to square the last term, so we're going to write plus 16, and the middle term that goes in here is the two of them multiplied together, and then multiplying that times 2. So we do 2 times both of these. So x times 4 is 4x, and then doubling 4x gives you 8x. And remember, that middle term is never going to be an x squared. Multiplying them by 2 does not multiply the x by itself. 2 times 4x gives you 8x. So that is your answer. You get the same thing if you did the box, but that's a little faster. So we'll do the same thing on the x plus 6 down here. So the first thing we do is we square the first term and put it first, square the last term and put it last, and then again in the middle, multiply them together, and then multiply it by 2. So 6 times x is 6x, and then times 2 is 12x. So we'd write plus 12x. And that's it on those. Let's look at the next page. Now we have a square of a difference. So, and again, this means this is the same thing as saying x minus 5 times x minus 5, but there's a method for this as well, so you don't have to go through the whole box purpose or steps. So again, we square the first one. X times x is x squared. Square the last one. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Then we're going to multiply them together. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And then multiply that times 2. And negative 5x times 2 is negative 10x. So on this one, the negative is going to be coming down and staying in the problem right there. This one's still positive because if you squared negative 5 times negative 5, you'd get positive 25. So we'll do that one more time with a little bit more in the problem. So this time we're going to square 2x. That will give us 4x squared. Remember, when you have a term in front, when you square that term, when you have a coefficient in front and you square this first term, you have to square that as well. So if it said 3x, we'd be writing 9x squared. Okay, and then so that's your first term. The last term is the square of negative 8, and negative 8 squared is positive 64. And then the middle is just the two of them multiplied together. So we could say negative 8 times 2x is negative 16x, and then multiplying that times 2 would give us negative 32x. So again, the negative comes down here when we have the difference, or the square of a difference right there. It does come down in the problem. The ending term stays positive because negative 8 times negative 8 is positive. So that is the answer on that one, and that's it. Let's look at the last thing, which is when we have a product of a sum and a difference. And it's this one's the easiest of all, because when you have one that's plus and one that's minus, you square the first term and then multiply the last term. Multiply the last two terms. So positive 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. And that's it, because if you were to do the box, you would find that the two that you would be combining like terms cancel each other out. So doing this one, we're going to square or multiply the two first terms. 2x times 2x gives you 4x squared. And then multiply the two last terms. Negative 6 times 6 gives you negative 36. And again, this only works when it's the same thing, just one's plus and one's minus. So if you had, say, x plus 3, x minus 8, that doesn't work because it has to be the same. So x plus 3, x minus 3 would work. Okay, but not when the last term is not the same. So that's it. I hope that helps, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Send me an email if you have a question. See you tomorrow. Bye.